All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahak, Wadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, the hopeful elect, Shalom, Barakathum. And the America is provoking or poking the bear, all right, so to speak. All right, now this came out a couple of days ago. There was an attack. If you haven't heard, I'm gonna let this little 3 minute, damn, it's 8 minutes. I won't play the whole thing, but basically you see a response from Putin that he's going to get into. All right, and this is a specific prophecy that was written about, man, that being Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, which I'll read to roughly the 10th verse or so you can get the idea of where we are in the timeline. Because brothers, we are very, very, very close, man. These people are psychopaths. They know that they can't win a war with Russia, but they're provoking one anyway. So you have to ask yourself why, okay? And the truth, when you put your hand to the plow, when you look to study and learn and understand the mysteries of the Bible and the scriptures, it requires critical thinking, man. All right, you cannot just read things at surface value. Okay, you can't just take the face value approach for everything. You have to think about these things, what makes sense, not what's being written in black and white. All right, and that's true. You should have a spiritual filter for everything that you watch, man. The news, even if it's fictional, like a movie or a TV show. All right. And brothers that are in the spirit know what I'm talking about, but you have to always have your mind turned on as a watchman, you know, even though we may be in our leisure and in our folly, that filter is still on, okay? But let's play this to get an update.
Kremlin has squarely blamed the US for the deadly. In the latest escalation of tensions between US and Russia, the Kremlin has squarely blamed the US for the deadly attack on Crimea, which was carried out using US-supplied ATACMS missiles. Now, at least 4 people were killed and 151 were injured in the attack, and Moscow has formally warned the US that a retaliation would follow. For more on this, we are now being joined by Glenn Deason, who is a professor of international relations at the University of Southeastern Norway. Glenn, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for joining us here on WION World is One. Tensions have been on the boil between Russia and the US, but directly blaming the US for the recent attack on Crimea takes things a big step further. Do you agree?
Yes, no, very much so. But I think it's because it's becoming very difficult to pretend as if it's not a war between NATO and Russia anymore. Because you mentioned that the ATACMS missiles are American, but the Americans also green-lighted using the missiles inside Russian territory. But furthermore, it's not just the missiles which are American, it's also the flight paths and targets for the ATACMS missiles which are programmed into it. It's done in accordance also, it's done by Americans in accordance with the US satellite intelligence data. So this is very much...
Right. In other words, they've been doing what you call a proxy war, okay? Proxy means, I'll get it, means you're next to, okay? Okay. Proxy meaning a person holding authority to act for another. All right. So that's what a proxy is. So really, Ukraine is a proxy for America. And how are they being a proxy? By funding them. Okay. Giving them weapons. But see, the weapons that America has, all right, you can't just pick these weapons up and fire them and use them, okay? A lot of those weapons require training. So you have to put military boots on the ground to go train the Ukrainians. A lot of them require support apparatus like radar technologies and satellite reconnaissance, okay? You can't just fire some of these missiles all of these long distances without being able to track the target with satellites, okay? So it's not just as simple as Ukraine asked us for some money and then we gave it to them and then that we're out of it. No, America has been involved in this specific attack, but they won't tell you this was on a beach. America or the Ukrainians, really America, They attacked a beach, man. Now, how is that a military target? You know, they attacked the beach and killed 4 people, man. Imagine being on South Beach in Miami and a big ass fucking missile just comes out of nowhere, you know, and blows everything up. All right, and America had to help them guide that missile, man. Okay. So only thing you can say is that you didn't have the knife in your hand, but you broke in the house with them. All right, you helped them tie up the people in the house, and then you were commanding him who to stab, man. Okay, who to kill. You're not innocent. All right, and that's how Russia is looking at it now, man. Okay, that's how Russia is looking at it now. All right. What do the scriptures say, man? Yeah, I was thinking of that Ezekiel 7, all right, where it says, verse 26, mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. All right, these are these rumors, man. Everybody knows World War III is closer. They're passing these laws and legislation about drafting and conscription. All right. That means that's a rumor that basically World War III is basically here already. Okay. And you have to think about how the second woe happened in World War II. Now, when we look back at history, we see that the September 1st, 1939, the Mustache Man, he invaded Poland September 1st. But on that day, they didn't think that they were in World War II. They just thought, oh, this nigga is invading Poland. He's crazy. What is he doing? They weren't thinking about a global world war, man. All right. And even back then, they didn't call it World War II. They called it the Great War. But that was only after several months and escalations, man. All right. But it started with the Mustache Man invading Poland in September 1st in 1939. And then the war went on all the way to about 1945. Okay. Now, midway through, then all of these other nations were involved. You know, you had Italy and France and Germany and the UK. All right. And America basically stayed out of it until Pearl Harbor, you know. But what were they doing? They were in proxy. They were giving money to France and England, all right, and Poland. But nobody called it World War II when they invaded. Now, Putin invaded Ukraine in February of 2022. Okay. So and what's been happening in the earth ever since then? More and more escalation, more rhetoric. All right, more bellicose rhetoric. Bellicose meaning warlike. Okay. So that's what's going on, man. It starts as a rumor, and then these things explode, they blow up. All right, and it's gonna happen swiftly on you Americans, man. All right. Ezekiel 7:26, mischief shall come upon mischief, and rumor shall be upon rumor. One of the mischiefs right now you're battling is inflation. Okay. Another rumor that's gonna a mischief that's gonna hit is gonna be food scarcity, famines. Okay, and what is that gonna devolve into? The sword coming out. And then when you have the sword coming out and lots of death, and none of these dead bodies can be cleaned up, what are you gonna have? Pestilences. Pestilence is gonna grow. All right. And it's gonna get worse and worse from there, man. It says, then shall they seek a vision of the prophet, but the law shall perish from the priests and counsel from the ancients. And we are not going to be out here to have to deal with no more you niggas anymore, man. All right. At all, period. Good riddance. Because you don't seek the Lord early. All right. And we'll go to Ezekiel 38 in a second. See what else they got to say here.
Much an American attack on Russia, which is why it's very dramatic. And now that the Russians are identifying the Americans as the culprits and are recognizing that this requires a retaliation, this of course takes us as a huge step now towards.
Hey, You know, this
This
time of
nigga,
year,
man.
we all keep getting pinged with political fundraising asks. But here's the thing.
Direct war.
Oh, so I gonna smoke him, bro.
Now, Glenn, the US has definitely said that Ukraine is free to attack as far as they want or wherever they want it. Basically, targeting is their headache altogether. It's their call. In a way, they've said that Ukraine is free to do whatever it wants with the weapons that US has sent them. And Russia, we all know how it retaliated, or rather how it responded when Britain had suggested this regarding Ukraine, that they are free to do what they want and target where they want, and they have the right to defend themselves, is what David Cameron had said. At that time, Russia had announced nuclear drills, and Belarus had also carried out nuclear drills. So basically, we had nuclear drills around Ukraine on two fronts. Now, the US has said that it is over. I mean, it's Ukraine's call what they want to do with the weapons. How do you feel Russia is going to retaliate now that they've said they are going to retaliate?
Well, first on allowing them to use the weapons as they like. I think this is part of the narrative of simply allowing Ukraine to defend itself. But what we really see is that over the past 2+ years, there's been this gradual effort.
And Russia's gonna retaliate, man. They're gonna retaliate. That's written. You can count on that. Okay?
To redefine the unofficial rules of proxy war. Because if we go back to March and April of 2022, when the United States and UK sabotaged the peace agreements between Ukraine and Russia, both the Israeli and the Turkish negotiators made it clear that it was sabotaged because the Americans British saw an opportunity to fight Russia with Ukrainians. But still, it was limited. So initially, NATO recognized that sending tanks, F-16 or long-range missiles to strike in Russia would trigger World War III because it would amount to a NATO attack on Russia. But now they're doing all of these things, which they said before was a crazy escalation. So we have, NATO war planners using NATO intelligence and surveillance, NATO targeting, almost certainly with NATO soldiers to set up the weapon system, program them, and even launch these long-range weapons with cluster munition warheads to strike targets.
Yeah, you get the point there. Let's go to Ezekiel 38. All right, because this is of the Most High, man. All right, the reason Russia is gonna, number one, it's written, Russia's gonna retaliate, but now you see why. The whore is drunk. Okay, out of control. They're gonna keep provoking. They're gonna keep edging and poking the bear, man. They're gonna keep poking and poking and poking, and then eventually this is gonna play out. This is Ezekiel 38:1, and the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog. All right, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Okay, so we're to curse out these Russian devils as well too, man, because they're all Edomites. They're all the wicked. But what did the Lord say in Matthew the 24th chapter? He's about division. Okay. All right, uproars of the people, man. All right, that's how Esau is going to be taken down. He's going to be a lot of infighting, basically a giant civil war. Okay. It says, verse 3, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth. Because Russia has been trying to avoid a war. They've been trying to avoid escalation, man. This is why they looked the other way when America, started funding them. Okay, they looked the other way when they blew up Nord Stream. They looked the other way when they confiscated $300 billion, okay, in Russian assets, under the guise of sanctions. All right. They looked the other way when they violated their NATO treaty over and over and over again, adding all of these countries further toward Russia when they said that they wouldn't in the 90s. Okay, they looked the other way all of these times, man, and now they're trying to add Ukraine to NATO. All right, or they thought about it, but they know that's basically war, So they've been looking the other way, but you know what? The Most High got the whore so drunk, she's gonna continue to persist and persist and persist, okay, and poke and poke and poke. All right, and then eventually what's going to happen? Russia's, and they're not going to have the choice. Because see, what's going to happen is the people of Russia are going to have a problem with Putin if he doesn't do anything. All right. It says, verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horsemen and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with sorts of armor, with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Okay, so Russia's entire military is going to get mobilized, and they're getting battle hardened right now, because there is something is soldiers having atrophy and not being battle hardened, or they're they're still green, as they say, wet behind the ears. But they've been fighting and tuning up their military and learning how to move and operate and mobilize for the past 2 years now. Okay, so they're primed up, man. Just like you got an old paint can, you got to shake it up a little bit before you get the best amount of spray out of there. Okay, well, their military has been shaken up and they're warmed up now, man. Okay, so America's gonna get absolutely trounced on, man. Okay, but look, verse 5, it says Persia, that's modern day Iran, Ethiopia. Now you look over in Ethiopia, that includes the land of what's called Ethiopia, but it also includes what they call Eritrea, Djibouti, and Somalia. All right, also known as the Horn of Africa. Now, the whole reason that they're split up into those 5 countries is because of Esau. Okay, and they've completely overthrown them, man. All right, they're angry. Those Ethiopians have had it, man. All right, and then the ones of them that claim to be of the JEOOs, all right, they've been castigated and kicked out of the land over there, man. Okay, so they all have an issue with this devil. All right, Libya. What happened to Libya? Libya was the wealthiest country in Africa, and on point to unify the whole continent. That guy Gaddafi, he was doing some good things, man. Okay, and what is it now after Hillary Clinton and her cronies went in there? Now it's an open market slave state, man. Okay, there's open slave markets in Libya now. Everything is crumbled, all because that guy wanted to go off the dollar. All right, back his own currency by gold, bring water to the continent, do all of these things. Esau said, wait a minute. You can't do that with your own resources. So what do you think? How do you think Libya feels now, man? All right. It says all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all of his bands. And that's really the area of modern day Turkey. All right. And all his bands and many people. And many people with thee. Now they happen to be a part of NATO, Turkey is. Okay. But they're also about to join BRICS. You see? So this thing is all divided and fractured, man. All right. And even the so-called Edomites, the Germany, France, the core group, Germany, France, England, Italy, they're going to turn on each other, man. All right. It says, verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. All right. It says, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword. All right. And is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. All right. And it says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, it shall also come to pass that at the same time things come into thy mind. at the same time that shall things come into thy mind, okay? And thou shalt think an evil thought, okay? That's the main point, all right? Thou shalt think an evil thought, man, all right? So all of these nations are going to assemble together, okay? They're gonna have eyes toward their enemies, okay, which happens to be America and the people over there in the Holy Land today. Because if you look at a lot of how these UN votes are going, sometimes it's just Israel and America, and everybody else is against them, man. Okay. When they voted to have the Palestinians or whatever to become a state, everybody was like, yeah, let them have a state. Let them be a state. Who are you to say they can't be a state? But Israel and America vetoes it. Two nations, you see. And what is that? What fruit has that brought? All right, more war. That's what it's brought. Okay, because now they're that little scuffle with the Hamas group. Okay, it has evolved into what, man? A worldwide PR nightmare. Okay, and they're losing. And what is that bred? The niggas over there, the Houthis are over there stopping up the Red Sea, man. Lebanon over there and Hezbollah over there, they're getting ready to go to war. All right, and because of that, Iran is in the mix. Okay, increasing their military readiness. And all these nations, okay, are basically unifying. The Arab world was not that unified. You had the Shias and the Sunnis basically at each other's throats. Okay. But now they're finding commonality. Saudi Arabia came out and condemned Israel, man. You see? Like, y'all doing too much over there, man. All right? So what is that evil thought? That's the thermonuclear destruction, man. All right? So America poking the bear, they're going to get what they asked for, man. So I'll end it there. Lord willing, this is edifying. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Bahashim Rakhakudah Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah.